older lady stopped at our shop because her motor started ticking all of a sudden. Wasn't buying that, since the ticking is the ticking sound of a spectacular engine death coming soon. She was busy with the techs, and in the waiting room was her teenage-age kid just staring at the Rubik's Cube on the counter. So when I finished cashing out a vendor, I went to the office, grabbed the cube and handed it to him. His eyes lit up and he started playing with it. He said thank you and sign, so I signed back you're welcome. I only know basic sign, working on ASL. That's when the mom noticed. She thought I was talking to her kid. I get the whole special needs thing. I have a brother that's special needs, but I don't believe in socially isolating them from engaging with normal people. When I stepped back out into the shop, she got in my face telling me her kid is deaf and that I wasted time talking to him in the first place. I explained to her that I knew some sign language and all I did was say you're welcome to him when he thanked me for the toy. She didn't see me sign to her son, so she missed all of that and backed down when she went into the office and asked her son what I said. They ended up leaving after finding out there's nothing we could do to save the engine. We let him keep the Rubik's Cube. I honestly don't think he's ever seen one. This is long and ridiculous. Sorry. My 30-year-old female husband, Luke, 33-year-old male, had a sister, Laura, 29-year-old female. We were all close and saw each other 2 to 3 times a month, along with their parents. Almost 6 months ago, Laura fell down the stairs at their family home and died. It was a freak accident. There's a window on the half landing and she hit her head on the sill. I was the last person to see her. I was there for less than 10 minutes and she was in her pajamas making coffee. I didn't even stay for a drink, and I struggle with how such a brief and meaningless interaction could have been her last. She deserved so much more. My husband and I have only been married for a year, but we've been together for 4 and have known each other for 20 plus. When Laura's parents found her, they called my husband straight away and we rushed over. We faced the whole thing as a family. In the days after, Luke started quizzing me. Exactly what we talked about, what she was wearing, where we were standing, etc. It progressed to saying I was providing conflicting information on tiny details he was deliberately misunderstanding, and accusing me of withholding information because I couldn't tell him things like what pajamas she was wearing. This escalated quickly but lasted for less than a week, as I lost my cool and made it clear that I was done answering questions. He didn't bring it up again and I wrote it off as a grief quirk. His behavior was generally that of a normal, grieving person. Last Friday, he outright accused me of murdering her, in front of his parents. Out of the blue. We were all stunned. There was an inquest which recently concluded, and there was never any doubt the verdict would be accidental death. He said it was completely obvious and he couldn't believe that no one else could see it. He claims I went through his phone and found his messages with Laura. I have absolutely no idea what messages he's talking about. I have never looked at his phone, and that I went over to confront her and things got out of hand and I pushed her downstairs. By the end he was shouting about going to the police and getting the inquest overturned, and how I wasn't going to get away with it. Let me be clear, Laura and I had a great relationship. We all did. I have no idea where this has come from, other than these messages I haven't seen, and even then, I don't think there's anything I could ever see on someone's phone that would drive me to murder. It's just ridiculous. He's been with his parents since this happened and will not talk to me at all. I've had some contact with his mom, but she's not being very communicative. The last I heard, she didn't know what messages he was referring to either. I am still completely stunned and I have no idea how to proceed. I made a commitment to be there for him always, and I understand that grief can manifest in strange ways, but part of me feels like my love for him died the second he called me a murderer, and I don't know how we could possibly work through this. I also really don't want to be thought of in this way, and I have no idea if he has said anything to people we know. I obviously haven't. A brain tumor or psychotic break has crossed my mind and I suggested it to his mother, and she just said she'll talk to him. Other than the questions before, he hasn't been acting odd. Obviously he's been grieving, but he seemed sane and sensible other than this. I feel like I'm going mad. Does anyone have any advice at all? TLDR, my husband's sister died in a horrible accident, and my husband, for absolutely no reason other than some mystery messages, thinks I murdered her. Edit. It has come to my attention that I accidentally used Laura's real name once in this post. Can I kindly ask that anyone who commented who is real name delete their comment, as I really don't want this to bleed into my real life. For obvious reasons. My brother's kid, 22-year-old female, came out as trans on her 21st birthday about a year ago and changed her name from Lance to Lacey, fake names. Most of our family accepted it and the ones who didn't weren't close anyway, except our sister Eva, 45-year-old female. We are a Native American family with a lot of creative names and my sister's birth name is something close to Evangeline, but she decided to go by Eva after a white kid said her name was rezzed out, low-class/stereotypical name from an Indian reservation. She's insisted on Eva for about 35 years and we all obliged. Now, she's regularly been calling my trans niece by her dead name Lance since she came out as trans, so I started calling her Evangeline, which she hates. The whole family caught on and have only been referring to her as Evangeline for about a year now, and she is furious every time she comes to family events. Recently, she's been calling me by my full first name to bother me. My first name is a portmanteau hyphenation of my mom's four sisters' name. Something like Alexiana Dorothea, but wackier. People have always called me A.D or Lexi, or my brother called me Dodo since he as a kid. I love my full first names, but it's cumbersome to use an 8-syllable name regularly. Well, my full name caught on with family and friends. Just to spite Evangeline, we have all reverted back to our full names instead of nicknames. Our dad is no longer Frank, he's Franklin. Our mom is no longer Roz, she is Rosalind. Brother is no longer Nate, he is Nathaniel, Sil is no longer Kate, she is Catherine, etc., all fake names. This has truly driven Evangeline away, which was the plan in the first place. Lacey makes for better company, so good riddance to one crappy sister. Yesterday I was flying to America from the UK, and a mother and a parent 18-years-old daughter were sitting next to me. She looked younger, but the mother gave her alcohol during the flight that she had ordered, so who knows. The whole flight the daughter had her shoes off and kept elbowing and kicking me with her stinky sock feet while talking loudly. At one point I was asleep and the daughter kicked me awake and slapped me with her jacket. Right before landing the two of them were physically fighting, play or not. I got hit a few times and told them to be civilized. Now for my pettiness. As soon as the fasten seatbelt sign came off, they got up and obviously were trying to force their way off the plane early. We were in 37GJ, very back of plane. I threw down my table and kept watching my program, trapping them, and told them patience is a virtue, we'll be last off anyway. They were not pleased. When the rows in front were clearing out, I waited till the last second to close up, and as I got my bag out of the overhead I put it on my seat blocking them again and accidentally hit the daughter with my jacket on the way out of the overhead, keeping her back. There was a very large family behind us that made their way behind me in the aisle blocking them in again. I didn't see them at baggage till 5 minutes after I made it. Didn't affect them a lot but sure made me feel good, it's the little things. I, 22-year-old female, have been with my partner, 29-year-old male, for coming up on 3 years, and our daughter is 4 months old. He makes sure to let me know how lazy I am, even though I'm the only one to care for our daughter or clean our house. He works a lot and when he comes home, he spends a couple hours on the game and he might hold our daughter for a couple minutes. He says that since I'm staying home caring for our infant alone I should have dinner made, the dogs and pig should be fed, watered, obviously, and walked. Trash should be burned. Dishes should be clean. Floor swept and mopped. His other kids' rooms clean. Every surface wiped down. He also says that there are gender roles and this is what a woman should do to keep her man happy. According to him I don't deserve to be loved on until I've finished the chores and put the baby to sleep by myself and made sure that he feels loved and cared for. Our daughter won't take a bottle and he won't help me with bottles so I can't go back to work, but I'm also not helping financially. He doesn't stay up with our daughter. If I don't initiate sex we don't have sex. He straight up said he won't touch me in ways that please me. Because he's not in high school. I feel crazy. He's obsessed with the concept of disrespect. Everything I do is disrespectful if the dishes aren't clean, if the floor's not mopped, if I leave little trinkets around the house, if I started projects that I didn't get to finish and forgot about when the baby woke up, or if the baby has been a little fussy and I'm feeding her when he gets home. I'm a fat lazy waste of space and why didn't I get anything done today? I don't text him throughout the day telling him sweet little nothings, so I must not love him. I can't choose between being a mom and a partner even though sometimes I have to because my daughter isn't capable of caring for herself. It's like he's mad that I can't be his mother for him, right? So Reddit. What do y'all think? Please be honest because he will absolutely be seeing every word. My husband and I travel down to Mexico to visit with my family. I am an American citizen, my mom and dad are not. My mom and dad got my daughter earrings for her birthday. My daughter's ears are not pierced. She is only 1 year old. I told them that I would save them for her until she was old enough to get her ears pierced. We left my daughter with my parents while we went to meet up with some friends. When we went to pick up my daughter, my mom showed us that we didn't need to wait because they had taken her to get her ears pierced. I got my daughter and I dragged my husband out of there before he lost his shit. We went back to our hotel. I am furious. My husband said that my parents are not allowed to spend time alone with my daughter ever again. I went farther. I said that I would not be bringing her, or any other kids we might have, down here to see my parents. We checked out 3 days early and went home. On the way home, my parents were calling me to see when we were coming over. I ignored all the calls and texts until we were back home in Phoenix. We took a couple of days to think things over and cool down. I finally called them. I asked them not to speak until I was done talking. I told them that my husband and I are upset with them for getting our baby's ears pierced without our permission. I told them that we went back home and probably wouldn't be visiting for a while. They said that my sister and I both had pierced ears when we were babies and that it did not harm us. I said that we were not going to change our minds. They started getting everyone, including my grandmother, to call me and say I was being ridiculous. I talked with my husband and we came up with a compromise. We agreed that we would resume visits, but not alone time, with them if they both got their noses pierced. They said that we are being stupid and that they are not going to do that. I said no problem and hung up. We have started blocking anyone who tries to call us and give us shit for denying my parents their right to see my